in shining faces. There's going to be a couple of sheets that are going to go around. There's not probably going to be, I know there's not going to be enough for everybody, but y'all can all maybe share a little bit and everything like that. It's got some notes that we're going to go through. However, when we get done with this, I'm going to tell y'all how y'all can sign up for our email list, and we will send you an email that's got all of this information. And then we'll also do some follow-up. So, Kelly Taylor and
Kaden Miller
with IQ2 Digital. And what we're going to call this presentation today, because we're getting ready to come up to the fourth quarter. October's just around the corner. And also because tonight is the kickoff of the NFL season, we're going to call this the fourth quarter blitz. All right? So we're just going to go through a bunch of touch points of things that y'all can do, we can do collectively to help one another, and then B, some things that you can do or incorporate into your marketing to make things a little easier. And also we're going to talk a lot about automation, because I don't know if there's anybody else that's like me, there's just not enough hours in the day to get it all done, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about all of those things. So without further ado, I'm sort of going to hand it over to Kaden a little bit to talk to y'all about some ways that we've come up with to support and help one another.
Yeah, so I know we had talked a little bit about this, but there's a couple things that we're going to do specifically to help market one another in this group. First thing is, on the River City website, we are going to make a page dedicated to the members that's going to have essentially your logo, brief description of what you do, categories that you're in, and then a list of all your socials, link to your website. And what that'll do is it'll give each of us a great place to send people to. So if someone says, I need this, and you don't have a business card right in front of them, you can just send them to a page, and then they can find that business there, but they can also see everyone else that's in the group. And then the second thing that's going to do is every time that we can link to each other's businesses, that's going to help SEO value, help you rank higher in Google, help you build credibility. So another thing we're doing, like with Mary, for example, we're building a dedicated page to members in here, and if you're interested in that, let me know, and we can basically just copy and paste that page onto your own websites if you wanted to add that as well. So that's just a couple things we're going to be doing there. Regarding websites, other things we can do when we're doing the business spotlights every week, we definitely want to be posting those, as well as a short statement on the River City Facebook page. So we're going to start doing that every week, and then that'll give us a good thing that each of us can share that one business spotlight of the week, because we know we've gotten a ton of great engagement from those posts. So we're going to be doing that every week. And then a monthly newsletter just to keep members updated on what we do. So if you have an event coming up, if you have a new service, or even just a refresher, this is all the list of the things that I do that we each look at and just get a fresh idea of how we can market each other's business. Maybe you have someone in mind that's needing something, and that email will kind of trigger that, and you can get that good referral right there.
So a lot of things that we're doing on the backside to try to help give you tools to make it easier, right? So sometimes we think of, sort of like what Wade was talking about, we hear this constant, hear each other's pitches and everything like that, and then we walk out and we don't have a tool to help somebody, right? I mean, some of the flyers and some of the cards that came around this morning help us a little bit, but any tools, especially digital tools, that everybody's got Facebook, everybody's got one of these, right? So anything that we can do. The one thing that I would recommend you all to do is just take the roster and once a week go find a business that you have not done this to yet, and go onto their business page and like it, and then request your friends to like it as well. Now, you don't want to do that all at one time, because all of your friends don't want to get 25 different messages asking you to like some different page, right? But you could do that once a week, and in 4 months or so, everybody's going to be touched. And so that is a great way to help everybody collectively help each individual business, if that makes sense. So, anything else on that?
Yep,
on that perspective?
That's what we're doing there.
So then the next thing we're going to talk about is some things that you can do to market your business. And how we're going to do this is we're sort of broke the customer journey down into, I think, 8 steps. Those are awareness, engagement, subscribing, converting, exciting, ascending, advocating, or making them an advocate, and then promoting. And so we'll go through each of those steps a little bit. The first thing we're going to do is just talk about awareness. So the first thing you have to do to get new business is just people to know that you exist, right? There's some people that know you that know you and who you are, but there's a lot of people that just don't even know that you exist yet. So one of the things we're going to talk about is awareness. The first thing we're going to talk about in awareness is the first thing you need to do is know who your customer is, right? Because there are a million ways that you can market your business, a million ways that you can advertise, and you can spin yourself broke in a hurry if you don't know who your target is, right? Just going out and blindly spending a lot of money on Google AdWords or Facebook advertising without knowing who your niche is just quite frankly, flushing a lot of money down the toilet, right? So you have to know who your target is. And then you need to make sure that you're using marketing techniques to specifically target that. In the digital world, they would call it avatar, but just talk about how to get to them. The second thing we're going to talk to about on awareness is probably the biggest thing that we're seeing from our perspective right now is Google My Business is huge. So Google owns search. 97% of all searches go through Google. People don't Bing things. They don't Yahoo things. They don't YP things. They Google things, right? They own search. So there's a lot of things that you can do on Google My Business. There's a class called Winning Reviews that teaches you a lot of techniques to go in and learn how to optimize your Google My Business listing. Me and Kaden took the class, and we're so impressed with some of the things that they've done. We've sort of expanded on that, and you can take the class, and we'll send you information about taking the class. However, we decided, you know what happens most of the time after people take the class, they're like, dude, that's a little overwhelming. So we've just offered the service to help people do it, set it up for them instead of them having to take the class and then spend a week of their time trying to set it up as well. But Google My Business is huge. We're constantly getting little notifications from people saying, hey, your post has been seen by X number of times. Your photo has been seen X number of times. And all of the people, they send us sort of analytics. And the people that are following these techniques are seeing huge increases in their Google My Business traffic. Your Google My Business post profile, by the way, will far exceed traffic to your website. So it's sort of the number one portal to take people to your website. So you really want to make sure that you optimize that. Another thing that you can talk to about on awareness. Probably it should go on the next one is engagement. Is everybody here should have some type of what I'm going to call a lead magnet. So when I talk about a lead magnet, what I mean is it's like sort of a low entry point of something that you can offer. And here's what I'm going to mean by that. So if you was to go out back in the day when we was all, dating and courting and et cetera, if you used to go out on a first date and ask somebody to marry you, that would probably be a pretty big step, right? To go from first date to asking them to marry you. It's probably a little bit out of somebody's comfort zone. You're gonna probably get a lot of rejections. And the rejection you don't get is probably one that you did wish that you had, right? So it's sort of the same thing with a lead magnet. You don't want to just necessarily throw out your most expensive thing as soon as you sit down with somebody, right? So I know that so people just, man, you got this cool product and you want to sell the most expensive thing. Just ease them in, build up a relationship with somebody with something that is a good entry level point, something that they can afford, something that they're going to get really good results out of, and then you can build up a relationship and upsell them over a period of time. Insurance is a classic example of that, right? there's some people that just sell one product, but they're not very successful. It's the people that build up a relationship and cross-sell and talk about auto and home, and then before long they got life insurance, and before long they got an umbrella policy, et cetera, et cetera. It's building upon that initial relationship. So make sure now everybody's camera will just read a QR code. And also with COVID and everything, a lot of people just would rather scan a QR code to look at a menu or something of that nature. So we're talking a bit about call to action. So for instance, what I mean specific, so print, QR codes work great. Text would be good for, like, if you're got a yard sign for a real estate and it says text Tony to 71441, because people aren't going to get out and go up and scan a QR code that's on a sign, right? They can just go by and see it and text something. Text on our signs that we do for VIP clubs is good. Text Delano to 40691. They could also do a QR code for that, which would be pretty simple. A lot of restaurants you'll see have QR codes on the tables to scan for the menu, et cetera, et cetera. If you're doing something on Facebook or Google, et cetera, you don't necessarily need to put a QR code, because a QR code you couldn't scan if it was on your phone, right? You have to figure out. So on that, you would just want to put a link to either a landing page or to your website, or et cetera, et cetera. So once again, make sure you have a good call to action. And then the last thing we're going to talk about on awareness is targeted ads. Make sure that whenever you're spending money on ads, you don't just throw it out there, because you can spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars on Facebook ads, and if you don't target who you're going to, once again, it's just throwing money down the toilet. So I'm going to pass it along.
Open up and see that. You can use email marketing like Constant Contact, Aweber, MailChimp as well to kind of build those up and use that CRM platform that you're finding. So you're finding the leads and awareness, and this is where you're actually having them take the next step. You can use text message marketing. You can send them links, special offers, reminders. Text message marketing is a lot more effective than email marketing, but it does cost a little bit more. So this is where you really want to be careful who you're sending it to. You want to send it to you want to be sending it to the people that you know are going to be clicking on that and utilizing that. Email marketing is free. It's still king. But it does have a lot less engagement rate with opening emails. So that's where you can be a little less targeted with your emails, but you want to be really targeted with text message. Same thing with mailers, Mailbox Power, EDDM, and lists, your mailing lists. Those can be really effective, especially for those the businesses that have a lot of credibility already, because when they get that in the mail and they see the logo and they start seeing your company on Facebook and they start seeing your company on email, and then they get a piece of mail with your logo on it, it helps build credibility really quickly. So when they see your touches in multiple avenues and multiple points, you have a lot higher engagement rate on those ads that you're sending out. Another great way is monthly newsletters. You can send newsletters out with special info. Some companies do like hey, here's what's going on in Wichita. So it's not necessarily anything to do with their business, but it's important information that people are going to want to read. So you have a nice mix of content that's all about you and your business, and other content that can just provide value to your customers, even if it has nothing to do with your business. That can still be valuable in helping build that credibility and helping build that relationship with your customer. Lead magnets, ebooks, free reports, value propositions. This kind of goes into like if you have a video that you can show people, just something for someone to take the first step, something that can engage that customer and really sign up to download. If you have courses like Kathy's been talking about a lot with Kajabi, this would be something
very strong in your industry, because everybody still has a fax machine. But a lot of people.
Well, ours are electronic, so we still get them electronically through a system called Procure. So we still get them electronically, which is still pretty cool. And sometimes the best way to reach those case managers is electronically, so we send faxes. But
it used to be huge. We did a lot when I was in marketing. I did We get a lot of fax.
Fax.
Yeah, but I haven't heard about it. I can't believe it's, I think it would still be going on because,
About some digital fax.
yeah, because you can do, because there's e-fax all over, yeah.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is subscribing, and that's just that taking that person that's up to this point just been a prospect, right? Going back, just backtracking a little bit in knowing who your avatar is. I was going to say this one thing is like I've known some people that I used to have a manager that used to tell me you can't be a professional visitor. Right, you can't make any money visiting with people, right? So I know some people that like especially in the networking sphere, we haven't even talked about networking, but in the networking sphere, that will just have a one-to-one with anybody and everybody, thinking, well, they may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, six degrees of separation, right? Even on that, you have to watch your time. You need to sit down with people that are good targets for you, unless you just have all the time in the world, and then you can sit down and visit with anybody, right? But I would encourage you to make sure that you just targeting well. So up to this point, everybody's just been a prospect. We're going to talk about that first. What's the hardest sale? Is that first sale, right? And I don't care if that's $1 sale or $100 sale or $1,000 sale. It's that first sale that's the hardest sale. So we're going to talk a little bit about just that conversion of a prospect to a customer, and that could be a small deal, or that could be a large deal. But how you deliver on that means all the difference in the world, because that means once that becomes person has become a customer and you built up a relationship, it gives you an opportunity to grow from there. Up to this point, awareness, engagement, and subscription is the most time and the most money for the least return, right? It's the most time, most money for the least return, because you have to bring in new business. Even if you're at a point in your business where you don't need new business, people move away, people pass away, people, things happen. You always have to feel that. But most of us in here, because we're a part of the networking group, probably still want new business as well. So you have to spend most of your time and effort in bringing new business. But where you really reap the rewards is if once you get that customer, you deliver a good customer experience and can grow on that in the future. Does that make sense? So subscription, some of the things that you can utilize to help you with that. CRM, I use Zoho. Me and Kaden have just run across one that we call Go High Level, which is sort of a CRM that you can sort of customize. We're going to create sales funnels for every aspect of our business. When we're talking about a sales funnel, what you mean is you don't want people just going to your website where it's got a list of all your products and services. What you want to do is find a particular point of pain, a particular pain point, and then address how you can take care of that pain point, right? So in bookkeeping, every business owner has a pain point, right? That they don't want to sit down there and do books, or they don't have time to sit down and do the books. So you can offer a solution on that. With feet, it's literally, the pain point is literally the pain point, right? So how you can go about fixing one particular thing. You don't talk about all of your products and all of the things that you do. You just really try to focus on one thing. Subscriptions, and as far as converting people over, specials, limited time offers are very good. Our little flyer that we're doing with coupons, they always have an expiration date. You want to do that. A lot of times where it's a limited time offer or a limited number of people that you're going to do it for, especially like if you get to the point where you're doing classes. Hey, for the first 10 people, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. After that, it goes to blah, blah, blah. And so that's a good way to get people to go ahead and that have sort of been dipping their toe in the water to maybe go ahead and take that jump. I would highly recommend, the other thing that's nice about CRM is you can automate things. Like in Zoho, once I add somebody in there, all I have to do is go up here and hit a button that says send email, and the email just goes out. I don't have to sit there and go, now what should I type to this person? And I've sort of got a template set up and I can just send it out. So it saves you a ton of time and it's more effective. The other thing I would highly recommend is like whenever you're scheduling appointments or using Calendly. So if any of y'all don't use Calendly, it's fairly simple to set up, but it's a great way to go ahead and set up appointments without you having to make that additional phone call.
How are you spelling that?
It's CALENDLY. And we'll send this information out about that as well. But what happens is whenever you have to do a follow-up call, what happens? You call them, they're not there, it goes to voicemail, they call you, you expect a call back, they never get a call back, you have to call them again, blah, 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 it goes on. So this is an automated way to do that. Follow-up appointments, make sure that in all your correspondence, everything that you do, there's some type of call to action. Everything, every print piece you send out, every email you send out, every text you send out, make sure that there's some type of call to action so people can reach out to you and find you. So that's subscription.
Yeah, so after they subscribe, they take that first micro commitment. What you want to do after that is convert. This isn't necessarily converting to an upsell or selling a higher tier package. This is really taking that first micro commitment, keeping in touch with them, and then making sure that whatever they did on that first step is successful, and that they had a good experience with it. So with that, you can develop automated systems to keep in touch during onboarding. So they sign up for a free trial, you're selling a course, they take that first step, they maybe pay $7, $10 for that first part of the course. And so they take that step, then they actually watch it, that's in the subscribe step. Then in the convert stage, you would reach out to them, you would ask how the experience was, you want to keep in touch. You can develop automated systems, as in using your CRM platform to check out where they were, send out next step information. You can send out emails and text message reminders if they haven't watched it to get them to watch it, anything along those lines in the convert stage.
So the next stage is, once again, up to this point, you spent a lot of money and got a little bit of a return, but here's where it really pays off, because you have to think about whenever you're making that investment in time and money, what's the lifetime value of a customer, right? I know that y'all look at that when y'all are doing your marketing. What's this person worth to us over a lifetime? Right?
$100,000.
Right. It's a good number, right? So, and this is where up to this point it's been a lot of pain, but now is where you reap the benefits, right? So the first thing you want to do is excite the customer. Make sure that you under promise and over perform. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. You want to make sure that you do a good job, that they're going to like the product or service that you offer. They're going to be excited about it, etc. Because if they're excited about it, then they're more willing to tell other people as well, right? So deliver a good customer experience, a good onboarding experience, and then we're going to go to the next level, is ascending.
Ascending is where they take that next step and they're a full-on advocate for your company. They're buying that higher tier package. If you're selling an AC unit, this is where they buy the full warranty with it. They're all in on your business. They trust you already, and they're ready to go. So this is where you can look for upsells, you can look for cross-sell opportunities. You can utilize tools from targeted offers, so you can use your CRM, anything like that, to really get those customers that have already taken those next steps. You can really send them customized offers, customized opportunities that your business can help them with. So they've already trusted your business, they're way more likely to go through with those offers. So this is where you can really get the most out of your customers, but not necessarily squeeze them for everything they're worth, but really develop custom packages to provide value to their life. And so it's going to help them out, it's going to help you out, and that's how you create that advocacy for this customer.
So an example of that is maybe you go out and do a closet organization, right? And they're really happy about that, and you leave a lead behind it, talks about other services that we're doing, and all of a sudden it's like, man, I've been wanting to organize my garage. I haven't been able to go in there in a year, right? We have to park outside in the hailstorms because we can't even get in our garage. So then they talk to you about other services or the epoxy flooring, etc. Maybe somebody comes in just for flip-flops, right? Because they saw a little promotion, but then they're like, well, you know what? Can you give me more information about everything that you do, etc., etc. Same thing in, financial planning, etc. Maybe somebody made a contact with you because they was just wanting to save up money for college, right? And all of a sudden now they're talking to you about pensions and an old product that they have, a whole life insurance that needs to be updated, et cetera, et cetera. So the next point is advocate. So where you have people become advocates is one of the things is reviews. This is awesome that Rich has done. I don't know if all of y'all got one of these little cards that I'm assuming they're passing these out after every service call, at the end of every service call.
Sure.
Right. Theoretically, in fact, they have a little competition, don't you, to see who can get the most reviews in a month?
We do.
All right. So reviews, y'all, are huge. First of all, more and more people make their buying decisions based upon reviews, right? I'm old school, and I even do that. Like, especially if we're traveling, I look at the hotels. Like, I always discount the top one because I figure that's done by the business owner, and I discount the bottom one because I figure that's done by the competitor across the street, right? But you do get a good feel for how good people are doing. But beyond the buying decision, Google loves reviews. Reviews will help your ranking tremendously. Everything else being left equal, the company that has more reviews will outrank the company with the lesser reviews. So, this is a great tool. He put it on here with a QR code. We have a platform where you can send out and ask people for reviews, etc. It's a pretty sweet program, but I would highly recommend you to do reviews. Some people will actually post them. Kaden's really good about posting some of those reviews on people's websites so people can look at it, and et cetera, et cetera. And then another way to get people to advocate for you is sort of what we were talking a little bit about earlier, is social media sharing. So, like, I see a post from Kathy, it would be very easy for me to like that and then share it, but not just hit share button, but maybe share it to another group that I'm a part of, right? Now, whenever you're doing that, I would warn you, don't share it to every group that you're a part of, because we're all a part of probably a bunch of the same groups. And when you do that, all of a sudden, people see them just constantly, they get sort of ticked off. I can think of one company in particular that every post they do, they share it to every group that they're a part of, and all of a sudden people are just like, oh my gosh, enough already, right? But social media sharing is huge. If you can get people to buy into that, hey, like my page, share my page. Whenever you see a post, anytime a post comes across our feed for anybody else, we should always be liking that and sharing it, and hopefully sharing it to another group. So that's advocate. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is promotion, where you can actually get people to go out and be, quote unquote, your salespeople. Yes?
Can we go back to the Facebook thing real quick?
Uh-huh.
Commenting.
Oh, huge. Yeah. Oh, my feet feel so much better. You know what I mean? These flip flops are awesome.
Yeah, if you comment on their post, and even if it's just a, good morning or any kind of comment, because the analytics look at that and it ranks you higher for future posts and stuff.
Like, I didn't even know that you could increase your limits on basement coverage, et cetera, right? Or I'm assuming that you can even get, like, do you get a discount if you have a battery backup or something like that?
Some carriers.
So, but anyhow, I didn't know that they offered that discount or blah, 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 or, hey, I really, I use this makeup myself, right? Et cetera, et cetera.
So along with that, comments are kind of like sharing as well, where that's a way where your other friends can see that post, even if you just comment on it. You don't necessarily have to share it. So like, my dad would comment on something and I see the entire post without him ever sharing it. So that is huge, because that sharing will get a wider audience, but commenting on it will let your close audience of friends see that post. So those are the ones that are going to trust you the most. So that's big.
So the last one we're going to talk about is just promotion, and what we mean by promotion is beyond people becoming sort of just an advocate and sort of telling other people about you, that they actually become, quote unquote, almost like salespeople for you. So one of the ways you can do that is offer some type of referral program, right? A friends and family discount or this or that or something else. Me and Kaden are fixing to roll out in all of our products that we do some type of referral program where if you send us somebody, we're going to pay you like $25 or we're going to pay you $50, et cetera, et cetera. So the other thing you can do is actually, even in some businesses, set up an affiliate program where, people, once again, you provide them tools, and every time they refer somebody to you, that you pay them some type of, kickback or referral fee, et cetera, et cetera. There's a couple of platforms for that. Me and Kaden are actually developing one that we're trying on. So for instance, if you wanted to join our affiliate program, you can go on your phone and you can text TN92 to 71441 and we'll pass that around a little bit, or I'll send it out on our email, etc. And you can join our affiliate program. And then obviously, like I remember one day Dwayne was sitting over here and we was going around and everybody's putting their pitch and he's like, oh, by the way, if you send somebody my way and I sell them an AED, I'll pay them I'll pay $50. And everybody almost like, what? You know how it is. Sometimes you're eating breakfast and somebody's giving their pitch and everybody's listening and we've heard the same thing over and over again. But all of a sudden, everybody just sort of put their fork down and looked over and like, you'll pay us $50, right? Are you serious, man? So a little referral program is awesome. I mean, who used to be very, very good at that is like the satellite companies or cable companies, et cetera, always used to offer discounts, but they work phenomenal. And if you're giving people something back, they're just more likely. That company that we was talking about, the winning reviews, they have a little program. If I have to send somebody to take that class, they'll pay me $50. So I would never send somebody to take that class if it wasn't a good class. But the fact that they're paying $50 does keep it in top of my mind, right? So anyhow, we all want to know what's in it for us, right? So you can do that as well. So there's a lot of different things. We didn't go into a lot of detail in any particular thing. If the one thing I would really recommend to you, of all the things that we've talked about, and me and Kaden talked about this last night, is finding ways in any of these steps to automate the process. To be able to take something that, instead of sending out 20 different emails, to be able to go over and send one email to 20 people instead of 20 emails to 20 people. Does that make sense? Or text messages. Like my restaurants love the text message because at a click of a button, they can reach 1,000 of their customers. And they know that of those 1,000 customers, some of them are gonna come in and do a buy one, get one half off offer or something like that. So just find ways to automate your system. It'll make it much easier and more beneficial to you in the long run.
And especially if you can automate the text messaging, if you can automate the emails, that's going to give them so many more touch points. So then if you make a phone call, they've already seen your name 3 or 4 times. You haven't had to do anything, and you already have that relationship started with that customer. So that kind of stuff is huge in building credibility and getting that relationship started before you're ever in that relationship.
So for instance, Tony, how many touches does it take?
How many touches? 8.
8. So a bunch of those 8 touches could all be automated, right? You make that initial contact with somebody, or all of a sudden you put them in their CRM, you put them in your email marketing list, you put them in this, that, something else, and all of a sudden it goes from there. So I'm assuming that our time is up.
Yep.
It's 8.
Boom.
But you didn't get started until late.
So perfect.
Please send me a copy of this,
Yeah.
so I can put it out to everybody.
Yeah, and if y'all would like to have a business analysis or see how our little sales funnel is coming together, y'all can scan our little QR code and get a free business analysis.